How's it going, everybody? Stellar here. I figured I'd just get into this today and just, chit chat a little bit and model something. So yeah, I basically got a little idea in my head. I'm thinking about making just like a goofy little kind of stylized vehicle. And it's not going to be just any normal vehicle. It's going to be a vehicle that transports default cubes to their new life. Been playing around, learning how to do different types of modeling and everything, and well, I've decided that let's make a default cube truck. Something goofy, just a little bit of a practice here to just kind of play around with the tools a bit. Boxcutter and hard ops. If you haven't guessed it by now, those are like my go-to tools. I really love using Boxcutter and hard ops. They just help out with the workflow, really. So I'm gonna go ahead and send that like this, a little bit wider maybe. Yeah, that's much better. And yeah, I'm just gonna go through and do some goofy stuff here. Might even use a little bit of decal machine just to get some nice touches on some stuff here. But that's the goal, is just to give default cubes a better life, because everybody's always deleting them, never giving them the opportunity to succeed in life. So that's what we're making this truck for, is so that they can be carried into a better life and be able to do a lot more than people give them credit for. I'm going to go ahead and take this edge here, just bevel it over. I'm kind of just sending it. I don't really have like any crazy ideas in my head of what to do. The inspiration for this is basically just coming from like a deuce-and-a-half military vehicle, and so that felt like a pretty good starting point for me. So that's where we're gonna go with this here. And we're just gonna make a little vehicle, see if we can do anything crazy with it. But Boxcutter, it helps out a lot, mostly because I'm not really trying to take 4 years to do regular Boolean setup inside of Blender, and you can't beat it. You really can't. It's a really good tool, so it's a lot of fun in my opinion. You can just go in and very quickly concept things and get really good results with it, and that's why I'm a huge fan of it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and take this front end here and make it a little bit longer, because we want to put some big old wheels on it for no other good reason but because we can. So I'm going to take this here and just push it down. I've had a lot of people asking me as of late, why I make guns a lot and all that good stuff, and it's mostly due to, for one, I really like guns. If you couldn't already tell, I'm originally from the South in the United States, and it's just been a big part of my life. I've also been in the military and law enforcement, and so guns are they're great to me. I believe people should have them. Smart people should have them, not everybody. But we don't want to get too political, and so yeah, I like to do guns, but I also like to do other things, because guns are great and all, but you can only do so many guns before you run out of either ideas or guns to do if you're modeling after a certain type of gun. But one thing that will always be there for us is the default cube. And so I want to kind of, like I said, make the protector the transporter of the cube, and that's what we're gonna do. So we're just doing a little bit of goofy, I guess you would call it stylized type feel to this, if you would. Messed around with making vehicles. I made a police SUV, pretty much my first ever vehicle I've made. I've kind of dabbled and messed with it, but it was pretty much my first vehicle I ever made, and that was loads and loads of fun, and I had a lot of people like it, especially on the Blender Facebook pages and within the Boxcutter and Hard Ops Discord, as well as the Blender Discord. From what I can remember, that's where I posted it. I don't quite recall. I've been really busy. Just got out a new course, my Blender Hard Surface Weapons course. So that was a lot of fun to make. I highly recommend people go take a look at that. Because not only does it help, you know, with making weapons designs and everything, but it also was meant to help people with hard surface modeling, because a lot of the details and everything that I go into with that course, it's very helpful for people who are looking to get started in hard surface and everything. So I highly recommend it. I mean, of course it's my own course, so I'm gonna recommend it, but it is definitely helpful to people who, you know, need a little bit of help getting started, especially in Blender, because it can be a little bit harder. So we're just gonna Control Z that until I get back there. We'll just Shift Z, Control Shift Z that. Go ahead and take this edge and just extrude it down. Probably do about right there. That looks pretty good to me. Go ahead and sharpen that. But you know, you gotta sometimes just get in Blender and, you know, just start going crazy, start attacking it. You know, give cubes their chances, give them some chance to, you know, wow you. Yeah, so I want to get into more modeling like vehicles and possibly spaceships and stuff like that, because it's something that I've always wanted to do, and something I'm not very good at, and things that I'm not very good at, I like to do it and do it and do it until I become good at it. The reason why guns are good for me, at least, is because I have a lot of real-world experience and time just researching and looking at them and everything like that, so that's pretty much why I am so proficient in making guns. Now, I'm definitely not the best, especially when it comes to substance painting and, you know, doing video game ready models and everything, but I would definitely say that I at least know what I'm talking about, and sometimes that's all that matters, is as long as you know what you're talking about, then it's not as hard. So I'm just going to go in and add a hood here. See how I like that. That's looking pretty good, so I'll go ahead and sharpen that. And let's see. Go ahead and take this whole edge loop except for the back, and wonder what it will look like beveled over. Kind of a fan of that. A little bit nasty looking here, but that's no big deal. We're going to take these edges as well, just bevel them over, and we'll do the same to the bottom part of the vehicle here. We'll just bevel that over to kind of make it match as much as we can. Nothing crazy. I've been doing a lot of doodles and everything, just practicing, doing some fun stuff on my free time and everything like that. And I've been having a lot of fun messing around with, you know, like tiny vehicles, I guess you would call them. So I definitely recommend, like, if you ever get like an artist block, because I know I've been talking to a few people, they've had an artist block, and the best thing I could recommend is just get in there, even if it's just goofing around, get in there and just start messing some cubes up, cutting into it if you got Boxcutter and hard ops. If not, then that's no problem. You can just go in there and mess around with a grease pen. Heck, you can even go in and you know, just draw something, you know. And anytime you go through life and think about, you know, all kinds of cool stuff, then, you know, write it down. That could be potential ideas in the future. But I definitely recommend, if I can click the right thing here, I definitely recommend just keeping like a log of potential ideas. Anytime an idea pops up in your head, you know, even if it sounds stupid, I just recommend getting at it and going after it, and, you know, doing it, because you never know where you'll end up. Like, I haven't pre-made this beforehand, so I'm just kind of going at it. One thing I do need to do is turn on screencast keys so you guys can kind of see what I'm doing here. So that'll work pretty good. Let's change this color to something less disgusting here. And we'll go ahead and turn up the font size so you guys can see what I'm doing. There we go. Just in case, because I know I commented, someone had commented asking if I could do screencast, and I told them definitely will be doing that in all future videos, so I don't want to forget and fall back on my promises. So we're going to go ahead and apply scale and rotation and just bevel that, and we're going to slap on a array modifier here. I'll go ahead and change that to 0 and just crank that up a little bit, just so we can kind of get some cool looking grill type action going here. And I like the way that looks. So let's see what else we can do. Go in with circle, add some like little accent pieces here. About right there looks good to me, so we'll just pop that in, and we'll go ahead and do the same with this. Go ahead and pop that in as well. A little bit too far on that, so let's try that again. That'll work. Go ahead and sharpen it. I do like working in a weird workflow. For those of you who don't know, it's pretty fun, for me at least. You know, I get the shapes to pretty much exactly the way I want them, and then I basically apply it. You know, Boxcutter and hard ops is definitely meant to be used as like a non-destructive workflow, but it is also very handy to, you know, speed things up and, you know, just have fun with it. It's not meant to be complicated. We'll just go ahead and duplicate that and put it down in here. But there's a lot of very helpful features. Like I love messing with the 360 array, and we'll use that when I go in to make the wheels here. We'll just go ahead and use that as a jump off point to get these mirrored over to the other side. So we got a nice little grill going. So now I guess a smart thing to do would be to add a bumper, kind of protect what we got going on underneath. I'll go ahead and bring it to probably about right here. Nothing insane, so I'll go ahead and probably extend it to about right there. Might as well just mirror it for what we're about to do, so I'll go ahead and extrude that out. Just take that and push it inwards, so we get a nice little bumper type thing going on here, and looks pretty good to me. What we'll do is we'll go ahead and get rid of these faces here, since they're no longer needed in our lives. Looks pretty good. Go ahead and faces, And then what I'll do is just add a modifier and solidify. Kind of give it some thickness here. And that looks pretty good to me, so we will just pull it back down. We'll go ahead and C-sharp it just to apply the thickness modifier there, and I will take this edge, the whole entire edge, and I'll just go ahead and bevel it over because we want it to be nice and good looking. We don't want any horrible shapes and whatnot, so let's go ahead and try to make this look pretty decent just by hacking into it with a little bit of box cutter type action here. So I'll go ahead and just bevel that. Bevel's being a little bit weird. Go ahead and apply the scale to this. That might help. So I don't know exactly what's going on with the bevel here. Push that. There we go. That's exactly what I wanted. Go ahead and keep that live and just push it back on the Y and down a little bit. And this will be an area where we can have some neat little lights popping out. I don't know, we're just kind of rolling with it. And that's what I recommend to people is if you don't know what you're doing, just start attacking it, you know, doing some fun stuff, something that looks pretty cool, and just get in there and have some fun. Because in the end it'll eventually look like you're doing something that you meant to. So that looks pretty good to me. We'll go ahead and sharpen that, and we will move this guy over to here because it's given too much stress there. We don't want to stress this cube's new job out, you know, stress it out. We don't want it starting a new job. It started off as a default cube, and now it's a bumper to a goofy looking truck. So you know, you got to give it some purpose in its life. But yeah, so we're gonna go through and just have some fun here. I'm gonna go ahead and duplicate this face, bring it out. I'll go ahead and make it its own selection, and then we will add a thickness modifier to it, or sorry, solidify. Go ahead and just push that back to where it came from. C-sharpen it, and then mess with the bevel a little bit. That looks pretty good. Now what we can do, just kind of have some fun here with it. Do some unique shapes for no other good reason but because why not. You definitely want to do some pretty wild stuff because you know it's good for concepting. You know, if you're living your life in fear of, oh, I don't know if people are gonna like this, well, it doesn't matter what people like, it matters if you like it or not. So if you're happy with it, that's all that matters, because you'll be able to look back on that and be like, man, I'm glad I made that. That was a lot of fun. Now if you're doing it for a job, I definitely recommend, you know, paying as much attention to detail as possible, because it's part of your job requirement, I guess, if you know you're doing it for work. But if you're just doing it to have a little bit of fun, definitely just get in there and have a little bit of fun. That's where I started out with, is having fun, really. I had no intentions to, you know, make videos or make money doing this or anything like that, but I definitely enjoy doing this just as much as when I began. And I wouldn't really change any of that. So I'm glad I can help teach people. Love teaching people. I you know, I used to want to be a teacher. So if I can go through my life and realize, you know, go to bed at night and realize, hey, I taught somebody, I helped them learn something today, and that's what I strive for. I really truly enjoy helping people learn stuff and everything like that. Now, if my voice could just cooperate with me. I am still recovering. I had a really, really bad sickness a couple of weeks ago, and still just kind of getting over that. It was really, really, really rough. And it wasn't the big scary coof or anything, but it definitely was horrible. But it gave me a lot of extra time to learn some Blender stuff, and that's what I'm happy about. I'm glad it gave me that opportunity and the time to learn this. Go through and just learn some tools and everything to get better, you know, at what I'm doing. We'll go ahead and rotate this. You know what, instead we'll go ahead and delete that and get rid of the old boolean, and I will hold Alt and scroll wheel, and we'll just go ahead and pick wedge box, kind of like that, and we'll go down with it and just wedge it in like that. So that's a pretty cool little feature. I like using wedge box. I like using the little line draw tool and everything. It's a neat little feature, but it definitely does help out with getting stuff done. I don't want to use wedge box there, so we'll go back to regular box and just send that through. Why am I doing this? Not a single clue. I made a little box truck, a little pickup truck. It was a little teal blue pickup truck. I had a lot of fun making it, and I wanted to do something like that again. So with this, what we're going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and apply the mirror and then reapply the mirror, or re-add the mirror. So it gives us that center line here, and I'm just going to, let's see if there's anything cool we can do as far as that goes. Go ahead and draw a knife cut across the hood here, just like that. And that looks pretty decent to me. Go ahead and add in a loop cut there. We're just going to take this hood and bring it up a notch. Nothing crazy. I definitely do not like how it is all curvy, schwervy like that, so we'll go ahead and redo that and just scooch these lines back to where they need to be, since they're wanting to be a little bit non-compliant here. GG doesn't want to be acting right with me lately, especially. I know I had a couple of issues in my course where I would just go and GG slide and it didn't want to listen. It didn't want to cooperate with me, and ended up having me to look a little bit funny. That's a lot better. We'll go ahead and grab this, then pull it up. That looks pretty good, and it gives us some room to work with here on as far as the front goes. We can add in a little cut for a logo or something to go in there. Actually, we'll just go ahead and do something like that. That looks pretty good. Now let's see, what can I do? Let me go and do green box here. Need to give it some turn signals. So we're just going to draw a good old little green box here. We're going to hold shift to keep it live, and we'll just go ahead and grab this edge here, push it in. We'll take both of these edges and pull it out just a little bit. And I'll select this face and just inset it and push it inwards. But our bevel's going to be a little goofy on us, and we don't want that. So instead of doing that, we will just not do that. So I'm trying to think of what else to do here. Let's see. We can add a little. Let's work on the door. That sounds a pretty good idea to me. Let's get a nice little door hatch going here, or a door handle hole, I guess. Not entirely sure what to call it. Now we are getting this. I wasn't wanting to use that, so go ahead and press C just to get rid of that, and we'll go across here and shift and right click just to set it where we want it, and I'll go ahead and push that in and just keep it live because I realized I wanted this end to come out just a little bit more, about like that. And I also wanted to take this edge and bevel it over about like that, and do the same with this bottom edge. And we might as well just do the whole thing because then it'll look a bit goofy. We'll go ahead and scale that on the Y. That looks pretty good to me. Go ahead and sharpen it, and we'll see what's causing too much stress in this life, in this hole's life here. We might have to just jump it down to this point here, and that solved the issue. A lot of the issues with topology, simple fix is just to take away some of the stress on it, or apply a weighted normal modifier. Sometimes weighted normal modifiers don't always work, but that is definitely an option. So we'll just go ahead and choose circle here and draw us a decent little circle. We'll go ahead and do that. Take this line here, and we'll just extrude it out on the Y. Nothing crazy. That looks pretty good to me, but instead we'll go ahead and make that a bit smaller, pull it out, and I will take this face and extrude it. That looks a lot better. So we'll go ahead and place that right there, sharpen it, and put a nice little bevel on it. That looks pretty good to me, but we can keep going with it. A little bit of details, nothing too crazy. Trying to get better at not fat fingering everything all the time, so that looks pretty good. Decent little door handle. So let's add a hinge. So to do a hinge, what I'm going to do is just go to box, draw a nice little box, and we'll bevel it. I'll extrude it outwards a little bit. It wants to not cooperate with me, so we'll go ahead and fix that. Tab into this view, sharpen it, and we'll just make sure our normals are facing the wrong way, because that was a bit weird. I didn't quite care for how that treated me. It didn't treat me like I was, you know, like a gentleman. It treated me like I was some sort of sewage rat. I didn't quite care for that, so go ahead and apply the bevel and the weld. We're looking pretty good, and I'll go ahead and sharpen that, put a decent little bevel on it. And we'll take these two faces here and just extrude it outwards. Nothing crazy. And we'll do pretty much the same thing, but only this time we are going to make the part that goes in there. So we'll click this just so it gives us an edge to draw off of. We'll go ahead and extrude that all the way out like so. Kind of scale it in on the Y because it was a little bit too wide. We don't want anything crazy like that. And we'll go ahead and push this a bit closer to the edge as well. Now what I'm going to do is just go ahead and bevel this edge over. Nothing crazy. Go ahead and sharpen it. Put a decent little bevel on it. And make sure we're not poking out too terribly far here. Instead of doing that, I'll just scale it in on the x-axis, push it out, just so it's right up against that. We don't want anything too crazy. Scale it out on the x. That works for me. We'll go ahead and go in here and add a loop and just bevel it to where it's about like that, and we'll push it down. And I want to do that as well. Nothing too crazy. And then we will take these two edges here, just bevel them over to act as our hinge. And we will mark that so we don't have any sharp lines going on. And that works as a basic little hinge system. So we can kind of make this look a little bit better here. I'll go ahead and do box again. And for this, I will go ahead and set the origin to geometry and give it a mirror. Do something like this. just pull it out, kind of have some fun with it. I accidentally hit the wrong thing there like a smart person. I'll go ahead and hide that. And I will go ahead and C-sharp that. Take these edges here, make sure my mirror is acting properly with me. Take these edges there, just bevel them over. We don't want any sharp edges next to the door where people are going to be stepping up on. Go ahead and do that. And instead of doing that, we'll take both the edges just so they have like a nice equal bevel. And that looks pretty good to me. Go ahead and sharpen it. We can do some pretty cool decal machine stuff as far as like bolts go, so that's what we'll do there. So now we need to work on the back of the vehicle. Let's go ahead and get in a cube. Pull it over. I like the height of it already, so we're just going to keep it at the height, but I kind of want it spaced a little bit from it. Try to make it similar to realistic vehicles as far as space goes, because with a vehicle you definitely want, you know, some room to wiggle, especially if the vehicle's going over bumps and turning and everything. You want some, give it room to flex and do what all it needs to do. So we got that there. I'll go ahead and make it a little bit shorter. We don't need anything so crazy. It's just about like that. And now let's just start attacking this. Instead of doing that, I'm going to take this bottom edge here and kind of extrude it outwards and just scale the whole thing in about like so. Just to give us something fun to cut against here. And I'll go into this view and change my snapping to view. And just go from there. And I kind of want to do about the same that I did for this here as far as the shape of the wheel well goes. We'll go ahead and move that over to about right there and just send it through so we can move it. Kind of do something, we'll go with that. That looks pretty good to me. And instead of going all the way through with it, we will just pull it to about right there. That looks nice. We'll do that. Go ahead and hide it and sharpen this as well as put a decent little bevel on it. We'll go ahead and apply the scale as well, since I kind of been stretching it around and moving it. And before we do all that, I'm just going to take this shape back here and just kind of extrude it or stretch it out a little bit, make it a bit better because I didn't want that little extra bit we had. So put a bevel back on it, apply the scale again, and we're going to just have some fun after I apply a mirror. So let's see here, we'll go ahead and just draw a cube like this. Nothing too crazy. We'll throw an array modifier on it, about like that. And go ahead and just send it through. Pull it over. Give it some room to work with here. I kind of like the shape and the look of this, so we'll go ahead and send it. I'll go ahead and sharpen that too. And just widen it a bit. Nothing too crazy. Kind of playing with the shape. I'm not entirely sure of what I want to do. And for definite cheat mode, we're going to go ahead and just take this edge here, duplicate it, make it its own piece. Kind of get this set up with what we have going on the front. Select all and just extrude it back inwards on the x-axis. About like that. Looks pretty good to me. And then we will add a modifier and solidify. Just push it down. Go into edit mode and shift in. Make sure we're looking good, and I will go ahead and remove the bevel off of it because that was giving us a bit of an issue. That looks pretty good to me. We'll go ahead and sharpen it and then re-bevel it. Now I am kind of going, for a little bit of reference. I'm referencing like a deuce and a half military vehicle. It's the two-wheeled version is what I'm kind of going for, but we don't want to go like too crazy. I kind of want to, you know, have some fun with it. Not really necessarily make it fully accurate, but you know, just have some fun with it. So I'll go ahead and pull this out because I just got an idea in my head. I'll go ahead and add a plane, rotate it on the X 90 degrees, just push it back on the Y to where it's about midway there. We'll go ahead and scale it up. And I'm going to Control B, bevel that just so it's like this. And I'll go ahead and delete this edge here, delete that edge there as well. And we are going to select the right view here, grab these two verts, and we're going to just ES and then GZ, give it some crazy stacks going. And I'll just do GY to pull it backwards. That looks good. We're going to take those and just Control Shift B just to kind of bevel them over, give it something a little bit more smooth. Same with those, Control Shift B. That's looking pretty good. We will take these and just extrude them on the Y. Move them down. Control Shift B. And we'll come back to that down there later, but for this I will go ahead and convert to a curve. Go down to our curve tab here, geometry, just increase the bevel depth until we get something we like. I kind of like the look of that there. Go ahead and turn up our resolution. Do 14. Go ahead and call that a day. We'll go ahead and make this mesh again. Sharpen it. There's no need for a bevel quite yet. What we can do is add a solidify modifier. Then add a bevel to it. Nothing crazy going on here. About like that works. Go ahead and apply the scale. And we can just chop off the back parts here. Give it a nice shape. So while we're still in our view cut mode, we'll just draw a box just like that. And send it through. That looks pretty good to me. Go ahead and sharpen it. I'm going to add a mirror to this so I only have to work on one side. Make sure we have nothing crazy going on, which in this case we don't. Got our nice little mufflers going there, and we can do some cool stuff in between it as well. Now for the bed here, I'm just going to go back into our object snapping mode. Fat fingered something again like a genius. And we'll just draw a nice little area for the cubes to sit in when they get transported to their new homes. Just like that. That looks pretty good to me. We'll go ahead and hide that. Now we gotta deal with this here. So I'm gonna go ahead and duplicate this. Go into edit mode, select all, and just do GX. That looks pretty good to me. We will take this outer edge here. Make sure it's just the outer edge, which it is. We'll go ahead and duplicate it, move it in, make it its own piece. Go into edit mode. Just take that and fill it in. And we will extrude it inwards a bit. Just select all and shift in to make sure the normals are good, which in this case it actually helped us out. So go back into edit mode and just move those back over there. Our mirror is kind of freaking out and we do not need that. So what I can do is just Shift S, set origin to cursor. Shift S, set origin to cursor. Shift S, origin to cursor. That fixed literally all of our issues there. I'll go ahead and sharpen that We're looking pretty cash money. Nothing crazy going on in here. I'm liking the way it's looking, so we'll just add a little bit of details that nobody's ever going to notice besides you and me. Do that. Just have some fun with it, really, is all you got to do. We'll go ahead and add a cube here. And I'm not really good at modeling vehicles, so what I'm going to do, instead of having to worry about all of that, we're just going to make an undercarriage here. I'm just going to bevel those edges over after we apply our scale here. We don't want anything too crazy going on. We'll go ahead and push those up as well. We don't want it too low. So that looks good. We'll go ahead and stretch that on the Y, just to about like that. It's looking pretty good to me. Then I will take this edge here and reapply the scale. Just to about like that. That looks pretty good. So I'm going to do QQ enter. I have stuff merged. I have the merge by distance in the hops favorite here, just so we can get rid of those two edges. And I will go ahead and sharpen it and bevel it, just so we kind of got a little bit of a undercarriage type system going, because I'm not really great at modeling vehicles. I've never really done it that much before. Like I said, it's definitely something I want to get into in the future, is get a little bit better at it, but in the meantime we're just going to go ahead and send it like it is. Guess that's going to be where our axle goes. Go ahead and sharpen that. Now I'm going to add in another cube, make it a bit smaller. And we're just going to make a decent little bumper type situation for this vehicle here. Go ahead and pull that outwards a bit. Going to apply the scale. Take these two edges here. Just bevel it in. In fact, we can take this entire top edge as well and bevel that and see where it gets us. Kind of like the way that looks, so we'll pull it out a bit more. And we'll do the same thing we did with the front bumper and just get rid of those. Add a modifier and solidify. That works for me. We'll go ahead and sharpen it and bevel it. Looking pretty good. We got us a nice little goofy looking bumper going here. I'll add in a cut. Make sure we're on object here. I'll add in a cut for where the brake lights would go. I'm assuming we'll just do that there. Pull it through. That works pretty good. And before we keep going, we'll add a mirror modifier, just so it reflects properly. And we gotta have a spot for license plates, so we'll go ahead and push that in just a bit, just enough for us to have a happy little license plate spot. And we'll do some other cool things too, like add a circle, push that through. Basically make like some anchor points, I guess. Kind of give it some detail, some cool looking stuff going on here. Nothing too crazy. So that looks pretty good to me. Next up, what we'll do is just add a cube in here as well to kind of hide our we don't want people knowing I don't know how to model vehicles. Because that's not what this is about. This isn't really a tutorial on, you know, how to model a vehicle, but it's just showcasing pretty much why hard ops is pretty good for concepting. And I wanted to talk about the you know, the artist block thing, because that's happened to me before. I've been on a block where I haven't put out content in months, and it ended up biting me, but in the end I got past that and was able to, you know, turn it around. So we'll go ahead and save that. I have it saved as Box Truck 2. Next up, we need to get some tires for this thing, some wheels, something to go on it. So we'll go ahead and add in a cylinder. And we will press 2. We'll Control Z that, press 2 to go into a different collection. We will add a cylinder here. Make it about that big, nothing crazy. We'll take this face and that face, and we will inset it and scale it on the Z axis. Inset it again, scale it on the... No, we'll just go ahead and leave it the way it is. In fact, we'll inset it one more time and then scale it on the Z. Inset it again, scale it inwards on the Z. Kind of give us like a little bit of a tire profile here. I'll go ahead and sharpen that and bevel it as well. Next up, I'm just going to add a cube. Make it way smaller. Bring it up. I'll apply the scale. After I get my shape that I want to get here, we'll go ahead and take these two, or these 4 edges here, and bevel it over. And now I'm going to go over and go to Hard Ops and 360 Array. I just noticed my screencast keys turned off again for no good reason. So we'll make sure that's still working. So now that we've got our 360 array here, I'm going to go ahead and just crank that up to give us a neat little tread type situation. So we'll go ahead and apply that and apply that. Press OK. And get rid of our empty here. We'll just move it down, scale it out, just to kind of get it where we want it to be. Nothing too insane. And instead of applying all that, what I want to do is basically just keep it live. Make sure we're good to go here, which we are. Now we can go ahead and grab both the empty and our array here, scoot it down, and we will hold Control and just, that's not wanting to work on me, so we'll go ahead and just scale it out. Go into edit mode here. Just take this edge and bevel it over. That's looking pretty good. We'll go ahead and go up with it a bit. And we'll duplicate this, go down, and we'll rotate it on the y-axis 180 degrees. Pretty much do the same thing we did on the other side. About like so. But only for this one, I'm going to go into edit mode and find out where he went. Take this top face here. And just push it down. That'll work. And we'll do one more. So add in another cube, scale it down. And we will make this more of a squarish shape like that. And we'll go ahead and keep it like a nice little, I guess you would call it like a diamond shape or whatever. Go ahead and array that. It's a bit too far, so we'll go ahead and pull it back in. Take our things here and just apply the scale because it is a little bit crazy, and I lost my array marker here, so we'll go ahead and just send that back in. That was my error, so we'll go ahead and push that down, scale it inwards just a bit, scale it on the... Actually, what we'll do is just increase this up some more. See how many this has real quick so we can use that as a reference. So we got 22 count on that, and with this we got a 22 count. I couldn't have done that more efficient if I tried. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and rotate it just so our shapes are looking pretty good here. Rotate it a bit more. I'll just scoot it up to where it's about center with it. Now we got some big old chunky looking tires, and that's just what I wanted. So I'll go through and apply our modifiers here because we no longer need to mess with them. Looking pretty good. I will take these objects and we'll go back to the first screen. Instead of doing that, I will try that one more time. We'll go and move to collection. We'll just go collection. Go back to the first scene. Now we have our wheel here. So another thing we need to do is add a rim to it. So I'm going to go ahead and just select this piece. We'll actually take all of these here and just join it together. And I will crank down that bevel because it is insane. We won't join them together. We'll join the tread to each other. Add a bevel on that. I'll select just our treads here. Go into edit mode, select all, QQ. No, we don't want the tire, we just want the treads. So we'll go into edit mode, select all, QQ, merge by distance. That did absolutely nothing because of our edges here. So what I'll do is just crank this number down until they act properly with me. That's about right. That works pretty good to me. So we'll take our tire here. Go ahead and add, or Shift S, snap cursor to selected. We will add another cylinder. Scale it down, scale it in. We want this tire to be real meaty, so we'll go ahead and do that. That's looking pretty good. I like that. Take this edge here, push it inwards, scale it just a little bit, inset it again, push it inwards. I can't really see what's going on, so scale it some more, push it in. We got kind of a little rim action going here. I will just take this, move that over on the X1 just so I can see what in the world I'm doing here. We'll take this face, move that back over on the X-1, take that face and just scale it to where it's about even with it. And I will just bridge these two faces together. Push it down to where I want it to be, which right there works for me. We're not really going to be looking at the back side of these wheels, so we don't have to do anything crazy there. And we'll do one more. We'll do one more little hops thing here. So I'll go ahead and just move this up and apply the scale. We'll just 360 array that. This is going to be our lug pattern. So it's going to be a 10 lug military type situation going on here. Let's just make it go even more crazy. Let's do 16. That works for me. We'll go up to top view here just so I can kind of get that at pretty much where I want it to be. And we'll put it right there. And just apply the modifiers, and we can go ahead and get rid of that guy. I'll sharpen those and bevel those. We'll do one more. Get our little cylinder here that's going to be our little cap piece, I guess you would call it. So we'll go ahead and scale it to about right there and scale it down. Just go up with it, in, out, and bevel it over. Nothing too crazy there. Bevel that, and we'll add yet another cylinder here. Scale it down to a decent and respectable size. Apply the scale, and we will just do another 360 array there. That looks pretty good to me. We'll go ahead and increase this to 5. We'll go ahead and apply the modifiers and get rid of this guy because he's no longer needed either. Good, sharpen it and put a decent little bevel on it. So now we got all these joined together. I'll go ahead and do that, and we'll leave those separately. I will add a empty here. We'll do a sphere. Just kind of scale it up, and I will scale it down. We got all that. Make sure the thing was selected last and keep transform. That looks pretty good to me. So we'll take this, rotate it on the Y by 90. Got us a goofy looking thread or tread there. Move that over. We want to have big exaggerated wheels for no other reason but because we can. Take that, go ahead and duplicate it and bring it on the X here. About like that. Now what we'll do is we'll take this as a jump off point and just mirror it on the other side, and we will do the same thing with this. We'll take the bumper here, use that as a jump off point and just mirror it to the other side. We're looking pretty good. I kind of want these just to be up a little bit more, or down a little bit more rather. So we'll just go ahead and push those down to about right there. That looks pretty good to me. I like the look of that. So yeah. Go ahead and let's add a fuel tank. Go ahead and put the cursor back into its original home. We don't want to evict it too early, so we'll go ahead and add in a cylinder. Rotate it on the X, scale it out. Just do it just like that. Nothing crazy. About right there works good for me. Go ahead and sharpen it. Put a bevel on it. We'll apply the scale as well if we want to do anything crazy going on here. Now I'm going to add a loop cut in and just bevel it one time, one segment, just about that big, and we will duplicate it and move it over, make it its own selection. Now we'll just go to solidify, and we'll make it solidify on the outside. We'll go ahead and put it about here, and we'll use that as a jump off point, just like that. That looks pretty good to me. Add a decent little bevel to that as well. It doesn't want to work. Well, C-sharpen it. There we go. Now our bevel's working out. And now with this, we are going to go back to Boxcutter, go to green box, circle, and we'll just pick a decent little point to get us a fuel cap going. So we'll do that, push it down. Nothing insane, nothing too hard here, and we'll go ahead and keep it like that, sharpen it. And I'm just going to use blue box from the view and just kind of clean those edges up a little bit. Just like that. Looks pretty good to me. Now we can go into edit mode, scale that down, push it inwards. And we'll just extrude it upwards like that and put a little chamfer on it. So we got our little fuel tank here. So we'll take both of these, click that, and just jump it off onto the other side. Just like that. That did not want to work properly for me. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and apply this mirror. We will Shift S, origin to cursor. Just manual mirror it there, and then we will take this one, use the bed as a jump off, and we're looking good. We're cooking. We'll add another cube here just to kind of hide the bottom bit here. We don't want anything crazy going on there. Extend it out. We'll go ahead and take this top edge there, which I'm hoping that's what I just grabbed, and in my case it was precisely what I just grabbed, and we will grab this bit here, just push it up, apply the scale, and just kind of bevel it in a bit. We're looking pretty good so far. Next up, let's try to add in something that resembles a axle. Go ahead and scale that down. About like so. I'll scale that up, and I will apply a mirror modifier. Go into edit mode here, select this face, go ahead and inset that and pull it out. That was way too far of an inset, so we'll go ahead and fix that. Push it in, scale it up a little bit more, push it out, ES, GX, E, and we will take these two here. Actually, no, we'll just take this edge right there and kind of round it over a bit. Go ahead and sharpen it. And just move it up into place. If I can select the right axis. Looks good to me. We'll look at it from this point of view just to get it into a perfect point. Go ahead and duplicate that and do the same thing over here. That works for me. We could also go in and, add some crazy suspensions and stuff like that, but we're not going to be doing that in this video. I just kind of wanted to go in and help people who might possibly have, like artist block and everything like that. Give them a little bit of a hand in trying to remedy that. So I'm hoping I'm able to help, a few people at least. And if not, then oh well, I tried. So we'll take this, rotate it on the X 90 degrees. We'll just grab that, move it like this. Move it up a bit and forward a bit. Not too crazy. And we'll take this edge and just push it down to about like that. and I will take this edge and merge it with this one. Actually, before we do that, I will add a loop there and then merge that at last, and we will just extend that up on the Z and out on the X and push it a little bit back on the Y. About like that, and we will take these faces here, get rid of them. Only faces. Actually, instead of doing that, we'll just take this edge here and delete that edge and delete this edge. We'll do the same thing with this. Go to Object, convert to Curve, and we'll go to our bevel here. Before we do that, I will apply the scale, kind of straighten things out a bit. About like that will work for me. I'll go ahead and convert to mesh. Go into edit mode and just kind of clean this up a little bit, because that did not look nearly as good as I was wanting it to. That's not a problem. Do something like that. That looks pretty good to me. And we'll just pretend that this edge here does not exist. That's no problem at all. Go ahead and shade smooth that, and I will put my cursor right here, add in a cube, scale it down, go ahead and rotate that over. About right there works pretty good. Want to have a decent mirror. You want to be able to see out of the vehicles you're driving, because if not, you're not going to have a really fun time, especially if somebody's trying to pull you over, or emergency vehicles and stuff like that. Go ahead and apply that scale there. Just bevel that over so we have a decent little mirror type looking thing going on here. Nothing too insane. We'll inset that face and extrude it backwards, so give us something for a mirror here in a moment. And I'll add another cube, rotate it on the Z, push it down on the Z to where it's about halfway, do something kind of like that. And I'll take that edge after I apply the scale and just bevel it over. Nothing insane, nothing too complex. That looks pretty good. We'll go ahead and snap that back to world origin, and we will take this piece, snap it origin to cursor. Same with that, since we had the issue with it earlier, and we'll go ahead and apply rotation on all of these. So that looks pretty good like that. Next up, we kind of want to cover our cubes so they're safe in their journey, so we'll add a plane, rotate it on the x-axis, scale it up to where it's just inside the vehicle there, and we'll pick it up to about right here. That looks pretty good. I'll move it back to right a little bit like that, and then I'll scale it in on the X just a little bit, give it some room. We'll take this edge here and just delete edges, and I will apply the scale in rotation. Just take that and bevel it over. Go ahead and object, convert to curve. Go kind of extrude it out a bit just to give us something to work with here. And I will add a array modifier. And we'll pull it out on the X here. See what we're looking like. We'll do 4. That looks pretty good to me. I'll go ahead and just extend that out to the end here. Nothing too insane. I'll go ahead and apply that array. Before I apply the array, I will go here, turn the resolution up just a little bit. I don't know why that messed with the array modifier, but we'll go ahead and not do what I just did. We'll go ahead and convert it to mesh, and it no longer has the array modifier, which is totally fine. We'll grab this here and this here and just push them up. That looks pretty good to me. We'll go ahead and shade smooth that and add in another plane. About right there. We'll go ahead and scale it all the way on the Y just to make it cover it. Scale it like this, and we'll take these two edges here, just extrude them straight down. Leave a little bit of a gap at the bottom for those of you who are incredibly smart and are following along. We are going to turn this into a little canopy for our vehicle here. Go ahead and just crank those numbers up. Do the same thing on this side. Top. And this side, I know you probably could have just subdivided this, but you know, we like doing things difficult here. And if you got a problem with that, then too bad. I don't know what to tell you. I like to do neat stuff here, so that looks pretty good to me. What we'll do is go ahead and turn this into a cloth. Turn the tension down to probably about 8. Seems about right to me. And what I'll do is I'll just select all and just subdivide it one more time, and we'll go ahead and save it before we get too crazy. Next up, I will do collision. Make it a little bit sticky. We'll go ahead and press spacebar to play it and see what happens. That looks pretty good, but I don't like how droopy it is in the center, so we'll have to change that. So we'll grab the cloth here and increase the tension just a little bit and press play and see what we get. Just keep pressing play until we get something that looks pretty good. We don't want to go too terribly crazy and have that happen now, do we? So I'll go over to my layout page here just so I can reset the timeline a bit. And what I'll do is I'll go into edit mode and just link select this one, duplicate it, duplicate it, duplicate it. So that should help us out a bit. We'll go ahead and press play again. And that's looking pretty good to me. So we're going to ship it like that. We'll go ahead and apply the cloth sim on that. We'll go back into our regular modeling tab here. And I'll just shade smooth this. Go ahead and add another subdivision surface to it, just so it's a little bit smoother looking. So now we got a decent little box truck going. I'm liking this pretty well. What we can do is we'll just add a plane, scale it up, And we're looking pretty good. I like the gigantic size of this plane here. Go ahead and apply the scale. And now what I will do is go ahead and go into our rendered view here and just start messing around with some kit ops materials. So I'll go to kit ops and we will choose CW other, go to Grime 01, and we'll just control click the ground. It's a bit too crazy, so we'll go ahead and just go into our shading tab here. We'll just crank this scale up to something a lot smaller, so we'll probably do 0.1. So we'll control C and control V, all of that. So 0.1 is still a little bit too small, so we will do 0.05. Go ahead and copy that, paste it into all of it. And that looks pretty good to me. So we'll go back to modeling here. And for our tires, we'll just select the, I want to say it is in the others tab, it is rubber. Go ahead and control click that. Rubber. We'll do the same thing for this down here. Rubber and rubber. Now I'm going to take these here, take the outside rim on both of these, and we will do Q, mesh tools, blank material, and we will just hold, we won't hold anything, we'll just add a blank material. And I like the way that kind of looks, so we'll go ahead and take our bolts as well. Q, mesh tools, blank material, perfect color for that. We'll take our caps, Q, mesh tools, blank material as well. And that's looking pretty good. I like the way that kind of perfectly turned out for us. It looked pretty decent like that. Next up, let's go ahead and just grab our windows here. We won't make them see-through because I don't feel like doing a interior here, but we'll just name this glass black. Turn down the color and turn down our roughness. And we'll do the same for this piece here. Now for the vehicle itself, I do want to use the Kit Ops dirty material. I really quite love their dirty material. I'll go ahead and control click that. Dirt up for that as well. Maybe not that piece, we'll go and do dirty up for that, a different type of dirty. I like the way that looks. Now we'll go into shading here and increase the scale of the dirt because it is a bit too small and it's starting to tile kind of funny like. So we'll do that. And I will change the color to kind of like we'll go with like a darkish gray color, maybe even a little bit more towards the blue side. We'll do the same with that. We'll increase the scale of this as well, or decrease the scale rather. That looks pretty good. We'll go ahead and do the same thing for this as well. That looks pretty good to me. Let's see what else we got in Kit Ops here. Got this military green material. We'll see what that looks like. That's looking pretty good. I don't like how shiny that is though. So let's go ahead and increase the roughness amount. And we'll kind of make that a bit darker. And in fact, let's change this color a bit, because I'm not a huge fan of the color that we got going on. I kind of want to go with a more of a military color, tannish yellow color. That works pretty good. Go ahead and select this piece and just do a new material. Make it dark colored, because that's not the focus on the vehicle. We'll do the same with this box and that box. I'll go ahead and join those together. Put that there. Go with CW dirt up as well on that. And we'll go with like a nice, just do a classic metallic color. And in fact, instead of doing metallic color, we'll go ahead and Control Z that. And we will do CW dirty up. No, we won't do dirty up. One of these days I'll make my mind up. We'll do dirty down, add material. That's not working out with us, so let's try dirty up. Too much dirt. One of these days I will find it, I promise. That works for me. So we're going to go ahead and take our base color for it here. Just make it as white as we can find it. And we will increase our metallic up. Change the dirt scale. It is way too big. Change the dirt height to about right there. And the amount, kind of crank it down a bit. And we will just lower the roughness to where it's a little bit more shiny than what it was. And we'll use that same material on these as well. So we'll just name this dirty metal. So I like this truck bed, but I do want the interior of it to be a different color. So we're going to go ahead and do that. We'll go ahead and assign that, and we'll go to Plastic Plus Paint. I'll just choose Plastic Dapple, and we'll just add the insert and delete it. Go back to this, and we should have the Plastic Dapple material, which we do. But it is very, very small. So we need to decrease the scale of that. And instead of fighting it with it there, we'll just go into shading. Make sure I got what I want, and that is the grime. Plastic Dapple, there we go. Finally getting somewhere. I'll go ahead and just do 0.1 for this and see what we're left with. I'll go ahead and turn it up to a, let's do 0.2. That looks good. The roughness is a bit crazy though, so we will increase the roughness and just brighten this color a bit so that it doesn't look as bad and as rough as it does. So yeah, that's looking pretty good. Go ahead and choose some metal colors here. We'll do steel dirty. I assume fuel tanks would get a little bit dirty. Do the same with our axles here. The roughness is a bit crazy looking, so we will go ahead and increase the roughness amount. That didn't do anything. Go to shading. Oh, that did do it. About like that works, and we'll go ahead and turn the off color down a bit. and the factor or the value down. That's what I swear I'll figure this out eventually. So this is Steel Dirty and this is Steel Dirty 01. We don't want Steel Dirty 01, we want it as Steel Dirty. That's a lot better. We'll go ahead and make this rubber. Nothing too crazy. We'll just join those together and make that CW Dirt Up. Do dirty metal on that. Maybe not dirty metal. We will do Steel Dirty. Good old-fashioned Steel Dirty. We'll do it on the front as well. Select our grill here. And for these, I'm going to go ahead and just do Mesh Tools blank material. And we're just going to bring this up here, and I'm going to click it till I get something that I want. Which, that looks pretty good to me. We're going to go into edit mode and select just these faces. We're going to add a new material. Go with emission here. We'll make that one yellow. Turn the value probably up to something 2. Make it a bit more yellow colored. We'll do a new material for this, assign it new, give it like a bluish tint to it, turn the strength up to 2. That looks pretty good to me. We'll go through and just slowly get everything to look right. We'll do dirty metal for that, and for these as well. See what's going on here. Oh, our hops mirror is messing things up, so I'll go ahead and Control Z that. I don't know what this is mirroring, so we will go ahead and apply it. We'll take this, use this as a jump off, just mirrored it over. Do the same with this one. Very cool, and I'll go ahead and apply the mirror. Then join these two together. Apply scale and rotation. Go here and just find something that looks good for it. So I will just do dirty metal. That works for me. Nothing too insane. We'll take this piece here and just pick one of our smart material or our random materials that was made for us. That looks pretty good. So we're looking pretty good. We'll go ahead and save this, and I'll do select all Q viewport, and we'll just do some EVHQ type action. And we will do Q again, viewport, look dev. Just kind of scroll it around, see what we want to go with here. I've always liked this viewport. We'll go ahead and change this color as well. Do something a bit more appropriately matching. Better than nothing. We're looking pretty swell right now. Alright, well that's pretty much it for me. I'll go ahead and enable some bloom and kind of crank up the ambient and occlusion a bit here, just until it looks about right for me. That looks pretty good. I'll actually go ahead and crank that down just a bit. I don't like that right there, so I'm definitely just gonna go ahead and do something like that. We'll just have to deal with what we're looking like here. We'll do depth of field once we get a camera in here. So we'll go and add a hops camera. Take our hops cam empty and just push it back on the Y. Move this back a bit. We'll play it and see what we're looking like here. It's looking pretty good, so I'm going to take the hops cam empty and just push it down a bit. And I like the way that looks, so we'll go to our layout here, and I'm just going to change this to 500. And the camera should follow suit as far as the speed goes. That's much better. Well, I'm glad you guys tuned in to watch a little bit of Boxcutter and hard ops fun. I'm definitely going to tweak this a little bit and see where I can go with it in the future. Yeah, I just wanted to basically make this video, try to help out with some artist block that people might be having, because I know I've been there before. So yeah, hopefully this helped and inspired a little bit of people. If you liked the video, definitely give it a like or subscribe, possibly, for some future content. I did want to take this minute to let people know that I do have my new course that has been released. So if you're interested in learning how to model a weapon using Blender and some add-ons, then definitely go check it out. Those add-ons are Boxcutter and hard ops. If you do not have those add-ons, however, for the course, they are not required. You could still easily follow along because I do show other ways that you can do booleans and the such as well. But I'll have a link for that down in the description. Other than that, I hope you guys have a great day, and if you have any comments, questions, concerns, or emotional outbursts, then please leave them in the comments and I will try to get back to you.